Hey, we're back. I wanted to go over a game that I played, just recently. It has a really good end game pattern that I wanted to go over with you guys. It's a really, really, really interesting outline of it, and it's the French exchange variation of all things. So it goes e4, e6, d4, d5. E takes D, E takes D. From here, there's actually three different ways that white can play. And each one has a counter. So if he plays, let's say here, you always have the ability of a C6, which is always, you can play against the three moves. You could play knight F6. That's basically, I'm sorry, this is the best move, knight f6 in that sitch. So if he plays bishop to e3, which is what he does, you have the ability of c6. You also still can play knight to f6. It's not as good as this is more of a positional move, so I wasn't feeling positionally. You can also play knight c6. That's an idea. You can play bishop d6. That's another idea. But I felt a little more. And then there's also c4, which is an interesting idea. And if you kind of don't want to, develop his bishop right away, and you kind of want to put the question, do I want to do that? You can always play knight f6 again. Knight f6 is good. And then c6 is also a good move, because then if he takes, you take back, and you have a symmetrical position. Your bishops are both strong, so it's an equal position. So that's why you have to, there's like three, I think I showed you three things, here, here, and there. So we went over those. So he proposed to do bishop d3. I played knight f6. Knight f6 has a couple ideas. It has an idea of protecting the pawn here. And then I could play, if I needed to, bishop e7, which allows me to castle. I also have the ability of, later on, I could play knight d, and then fianchetto, advanced fianchetto. So this move has, but it has one drawback: bishop to g5, and then I'd have to play bishop e7. He would be able to develop, and then I can castle. I can castle, and then he can castle after all that. So he played knight f3. I played bishop d6. At this point, bishop d6 is really, really strong. It hones in on h2. Also, I can later on play g3, g4, and castles. My idea is actually castles. I castle, castle. He plays rook e1. I play bishop to g4. He plays bishop to g5, pinning. And now that I have my bishop outside of the knight where it was here before, I have the ability to put my knight there, and I can also then play c6 with my queen movement as well. And it doesn't block in my bishop, my light square bishop. BD, and then I play c6. c6, I want to hammer away at the h2 square, and I want to take advantage of that. I want to kind of get my pieces. If I can get my queen out of this pin, this knight's also free to move as well. c3 was played. Bishop c2. I mean, not bishop, sorry. Queen c2 was played. Queen c2 has the idea, I remember what we talked about, moving our bishop to take the h-pawn. Because what we could do at this point, I really can't play here. I was looking at, can I exchange? And I was like, no, because he'll replace that there, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. So he plays queen the same. I play h6. What this does, it attacks the bishop, makes a flight square, also protects the h6 pawn, because I really don't, I mean h7 pawn, so I really don't want to, allow him to have any counterplay. He goes h4. I was thinking about doing this, but I thought too spicy right now. I don't want to do that because he potentially has, and then he can rip my position to shreds. And I don't want to have a bear king along here. I don't really have enough development. So I played rook f e8, which gives my king a flight square to f8 need be. Also, if he exchanges, I can actually exchange back, controlling the open file. He plays bishop f, because now he's attacking my bishop, and so I takes, rook e8. Hey, how you doing? And we're going over one of my games that I played, a 15-minute one, and it went into the endgame where I was able to maneuver my endgame pieces, and so that's what we're doing at this moment. Then we'll go into some puzzles to raise our rating up. Get out of there. Boom. Come on. Okay, bishop takes knight. Rook takes check. First of all, you have to get rid of your rook. Takes. So now, if you look at the position, they have a very, very strong. I was thinking about, should I take here? I was looking at that, but I'm like, I don't really like that, because then if I take, he does have that trapping ability, and yeah, I do strip the king of all of his pawns, but he still has adequate enough for. I do have these, but they're not advanced very much. They're in front of my king, and he has enough mobility to get his pieces going. So I was like, I do not want to do that. So before I do anything, I took. And now this is a real threat. That's a big threat for him. So he goes e to f3, knight ef3. I go bishop f4, because my idea is that I can actually trade and potentially bring my knight around here. Let's see, I was thinking here, and then into there maybe, but that actually blocks that. So g6, rook, bishop takes, and then queen to e7, which allows for a fork of the knight. So the queen has to check. Also, this protects this pawn. I saw all these checks and everything that he was going to play. I played king h7. He checked. And that's actually not a very good move. It's not. It's actually a really bad move, because it allows for me to go g6. It's a really bad move. Attacks his queen. He goes e5. I take, and then now I played my knight to d6. It does attack my knight, but remember, my structure is a lot stronger than his. This is kind of a more advanced of a pawn that later can be attacked if I start hammering away at the structure. I'll show you how I do it. He goes f4 because he's got to protect this pawn. I go king g7. My idea is f8, e7, and then to go to e6 and stop this pawn. Maybe play and undermine his structure. There's always potential. So he goes king to f2. I'm actually, let me see, what I thought I was, let me see, why did I play that? Oh yeah, I actually want to barricade it with the knight. That's right. Knights are actually best as barricaders, because then I could play there and undermine excuse me, undermine his structure after taking. I could take, and win. So that's kind of what my idea was. And so now my bishops, my knights at the square that I wanted to. He moved, which actually helped me. This actually wasn't his best move. He shouldn't have set it up that way. Sorry about that. I was looking at why didn't he play, here? Then that would attack the base. I would have to retreat back to hold, and he would get a move. But I thought to myself, there's really nothing he could do. He would have to retreat back to get anything going, and then I could just play b6 and replace my knight to where it wants to be. He does have a potential, but I get my pawns rolling in. He really didn't want that to happen, so he kind of wanted to trade off, which actually suits my my endgame idea of getting my king around here. Now his structure is very, very weak. I have the ability to make a passed pawn and then make one in the center, and this is just a very weak pawn. And I noticed that what he played, g4, king e. This cemented my structure, and at this point I was feeling really good because I know I can now get these guys going down the board. He goes h. I go g. He takes, which that was a mistake. He maybe should have tried to stop my pawn push, like when I played here. Maybe he should have just played here, but that allows me to infiltrate in. So he kind of was stuck when he did that. Maybe best would have actually been there. That might have been actually the best, because then he's holding his structure, and it's kind of hard to let my king come in. I'd have to play there, and then at this point he doesn't have to worry, because if I ever take, he replaces it with this structure, and it's questionable. It potentially could be a draw. So, but he didn't do that. He kind of got a little too ambitious with his play. He got too hyper, and so I took advantage of that. Which after he played a6, a3 was, I was like, that is just not a good move. He should play b4 first, and then I'd have to build up. Then he has a3 at this point, and then if he takes, I have a slight weakness here. These two pawns, he has a weakness. It's enough for a potential draw, but he didn't do that. So I now prepared. This move was really, in my mind, the best out of everything, because the king no longer has any infiltration points. If he tries to come over here, this is attack, that's attack, that's attack. So I now have all the play on the king side, and he now has to defend. I also have a couple tempo moves that are very important. b4 was a blunder. He should have played b3. I played there, and he plays there, and I'd have to kind of maybe play. Actually, I think he's lost at this point now that I think about it. Because takes, and then I play there. Yeah, he's done. Because if he moves here, I come in. Yeah, so yeah, he's toast. It really doesn't matter at the point. When he played a3 is when he lost. He should have played a b4 and then a3 or b4 and then a4, something like that, to stunt my progression, but he didn't do that. So he allowed me to set up basically a wall of defense. He played b4. Mistake. This probably was, in my opinion, b4 was the losing move. That's just my opinion, because I now have two tempos that I can actually use. which the first I move my king in. First he moves, and then the first tempo is played. Boom, b5. When he moves, I go d4. So, and then first of this is an interesting move. You got to be very careful. You do not want to take here because that creates a passed pawn, and he wins. So first of all, I kept my my last tempo in my pocket, and I are actually in a safe or something like that. And so I took here because I knew he would try to maybe somehow make it so that I have to give way. Let's say he plays there, which he did. That move a6 was my saving grace. Otherwise, I'd have to retreat back, and potentially it could be a draw. And he had to give way, and he gave way to E, and I came in on G4, King G4. He went King E2. I took H. The interesting thing is, I think he might have been able to potentially. Let's see if I took here. No, he's done. Because check. Then I can actually come in takes. Yeah, he's done. So I took. He played F. I went G5, King G5. King went King G3. I went King F5, and I thought, you know what? I want to aim for these pawns here. I don't care if he gets these two, because I'm gonna have a pass pawn here, and it's totally devastating. He goes F3, King F3, H4. He moves G2, King G2, and I go E4, and I'm not even worried. I'm like, go ahead, take it. And now I got these two monsters. So he resigned here. So that was my end game that I wanted to go over with you guys on that. So now we'll jump into our tactics to get our rating rising up again, and to learn, mostly to learn, of all things. So, or if you guys, yeah, that was a nice game. If you guys have any games you guys would like to go over, put them in, because I'm open. Hey, I'm open for any games that you guys want to look at, or we can do some tactics. It's all up to you guys. Okay, here we go. Hey, hi. How you guys doing? How you doing, super? Okay. Hi, Fox. Okay. Yeah, we went over one of my games that went into an end game, and so it was really, really, really all about end game play. So that right there showed how end game is an important factor. It was the tide turner. I used my two tempos, my B6, I'm sorry, my B5 and A6, to its mass effect of pushing him back, and I was able to win with that. Let's see here. Let's see, what do we got? What do we got? We have a fork, a potential fork here. So I'm thinking that might be the idea, because let's see, what could he do after the fork? Nothing really, can he? I think that's all I can see. Let's see. Okay, if we go f4, let's say he takes here. We take back. I think it's okay if we play f4. Is there anything you could do with his knight that could cause any sitch? I really don't see anything. Do you guys see anything on about f5? I really don't see any real sitch. Anybody have any other ideas? Because I think a f5 is correct. Huh. Then what do we do after f5? Because he potentially, does he have anything that he can do? I don't really see anything but f5. I believe that's, yeah, that's the only thing he has. I was thinking something like that. Let's see. Let's see. If we take with the pawn. Let's see if queen takes, bishop takes. Yeah, I'm thinking. Oh yeah, I think it's forced. Queen takes, knight. Yeah, it's forced. It is a forced move. You have to do that. It is forced. You're 100% right. Queen takes is forced. Otherwise, he'll win our queen. So queen takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, and we have a double attack with our our pawns. And so if bishop takes or rook takes, we just take back the pawn. So you're 100% right. What do you guys think? I think it's queen h6. I believe that's forced. I think that's 100% force. There's nothing else we can actually do. What do you think? I think so, yeah. Let's go for it. Yep. There we go. There's 4 points. Good find, guys. Good find. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, if we play bishop, rook takes bishop, that is a free bishop, isn't it? Because if knight takes, then we slam in there. He moves, and then we get mate. What do you guys think? Oh yeah. If you guys want to put a game in, the puzzle is always here. Yeah, this is forced. What do you guys think? All right, we'll take 1 sec. We'll take a look at this game, and then we'll jump right back into our tactics, because we have that one solved for sure. That one's basically a walk in the park. Whoa, yeah. I like when they have notation and it tells you about it. That's, whoa. Okay, so how many moves is that? No, wow, 68. You gotta say one thing, these guys did play a long time, didn't they? That's why when you get into these long games, it's why endgame is important. Okay, we'll turn off the engine. We could turn it back on later. So Kappa is black. Do you guys want to see it from Capablanca's or do you want to see it from Emmanuel Lasker? Which one do you guys want to see it from? Because these guys are both stellar players. Which one are you guys interested in? Because I'll flip it. Black side. Okay. Does everybody else want black too? Does everybody like black? Because if you guys like seeing it, some like seeing it from white side because they're kind of taught that. Oh, it was let me see here, black one. So Kappa one. So we should probably just flip the board. It's probably be a lot easier than. Okay, good, perfect. So we're all in agreement with black side being looked at. Perfect. D5. Yeah, the Queen's Gambit is a very interesting move sequence. Grandmaster Simon Williams, nicknamed Ginger GM, says that he played he actually played C4. He liked the English opening a lot for about I think he said about 7 to 10 years he played that. It may be less than that, but somewhere around there. And he didn't like it at first, but then he said that his opponent started figuring out what he was doing, so he went D4, and C4 has a very similar. Yeah, C4 has a very similar. I mean, D4 and then C4 is very similar. He said to the English setup pattern that he was used to, so that's why he did that. And he says that he loved when like E6 is played. He also says that if they go C5, he says, I mean C6. He says he loves the Slav when they go into the Slav. He says it's so nice because it's kind of very symmetrical with the position. Like if he takes, he could bring his knight out, and it's now all about tactics. That's what he was talking about. It says E6 is a very interesting position because he says if you ever took, like black did, white has the two center pawns, and he says that it gives white a slight advantage of central control, but he says that the D5 pawn actually weakens a tiny bit of the. It weakens the ability for the the pawn to be pushed. So he says it kind of looks very similar to a London slightly set up. So that's why he said that he kind of liked the London system. It flows into different openings. Knight F6, Queen G5. I'm not queen, sorry, Bishop G5. I have a queen because of queen pawn, I have that on the brain for some reason. Bishop E7, E3, which is it's a really interesting type of setup for sure. Castle, kingside for black, knight F3. So Kappa has a couple moves. He has like one more move before it's time. Knight BD7. Oh, sorry, knight B. Alright, where's. Oh, instead of. Oh, yeah, interesting. Knight BD. So you're saying, yeah, that is an interesting idea for sure, because then if he plays something like that there, you have if he takes here, like if he takes, and you can actually take back and kind of something similar, starts trading down. Black has a pretty good lock in the center, so that's an interesting idea. Yeah. He wants to see the bishop idea is all about he's watching to make sure, because this potentially, if he didn't play, let's just say he played some move like bishop there, he falls right into a big problem because of this pin. He can't take back, because then smack white's up a whole pawn, and now the pin is for real, this bishop, and so it's like, and then he can even smack. So you got to be very careful in move sequences that are played. Bishop F E7 is very important. This now no longer has its same impact. I think we already showed that, because they're so bishop E7 is important. So let's see here. We'll keep going onward. Castles. So you're right. It does. There is the potential for a B D7 sooner, later. But I think Kappa was thinking that if he did that, that he loses the ability for his bishop maybe to come out. And always he has C5. You have to always think what they're planning. Castling stops on a check, but that can be stopped with C6. So there's really no threat on that. So knight F. Yeah. Knight F3 is really, it's starting to develop. He's wanting to infiltrate into E5. E5, because that's an outpost, but not really one fully, because there's still a pawn later on that can kick that knight out. So at the moment, it's a slight outpost still. And that's why Kappa played knight BD2 at this point. He sees that Alekhine, or Lasker, Emanuel Lasker, wants to jump into E5. So now if he jumps in, he can actually retreat back, and then takes. That's a weakness. Yes, you have some positional type of play with that, but Emanuel Lasker was a positional / more of an attacker, so he didn't want to give Capablanca any life of an attack. Capablanca loved the attack for sure. So yeah, it does. See, they're moving, like in a fight in a ring. They're moving around the ring, seeing who's going to be the first one to land the punch. That's what these moves are doing. They're saying who. Manuel's or Lasker saying, "Are you going to be the one to throw the first punch, Kappa?" And then Kappa's like, "Are you the one that's going to throw the first punch, Emanuel or Lasker?" Either way you want to, first or last. And they're just jockeying for position right now, or moving around for position. C5. Now this is more of kind of Kappa wants to kind of go for a first attack for sure. Oh yeah, there we go. He's going for an attack, because he sees that white's king's in the center still. So he's like, you know what? You keep it in the center. You're asking for me to attack you. So that's kind of, I get that feeling that now Emanuel Lasker's kind of getting the idea that he's got to be really careful with his structure. He's got to get his king castled. Yeah, and this is the kind of play that these grandmasters see, is they know when to. Also, I wanted to tell you that C5 does one purpose too. It allows the queen to stay there, because potentially there could be something like that, and you know what I mean. So it's got to be all the moves have purposes behind them. Let's see here. Okay, we'll continue on a little bit quicker. So, because yeah, because this is getting getting fun here. Yeah, this is getting fun. Yeah, they're now throwing punches right now, and so yep, that was a incredibly nice move. That has a double attack. Now there's a potential idea for bishop to R. Maybe knight there is probably I'd play knight to d5 if I have knight f d5, because that really takes advantage of that. Yeah, it's not fun. Yeah, there we go. Emmanuel Lasker can't take because whoop, bye bye to the queen. Rook e8, rook 9. Oh, interesting. So that is an interesting idea now that I think about it, because if he can't take, so if he plays bishop takes, smack. So yeah, something similar to that, then takes, and then bang, there you go. That's really lovely. That's nice. So I did do the right move sequence. Cool. I didn't even say I was just playing what I thought would be an idea. That's cool. Yeah, exactly. You have to, like what you said, Supers and Fox. These moves have drawbacks. Every move. Bobby Fischer was the one that said there's drawbacks to each move. It's the one who has the least drawbacks is the one that will eventually win the game or draw. If they're equally matched, there's a draw. So the queen, yeah, knight takes, pawn. Oh, interesting. He's wanting to gang up on this open B file. Nice. Oh, he wants to trade. That's an interesting idea too, because trading does, now white has a potential idea of later on outside pass pawn. So you just got to be very careful the trades. Oops, sorry. Got to be careful the trades you do. Yeah, any other takes, loses. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, because he doesn't want to lose the B pawn. You're right about that. This is very interesting. He can't really take because of the crunch. That's a big crunch. That's not fun to have that. And then look at the mass amount of structure that Kappa has. White does have two passers, but they're not really advanced, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, he's pushing our friend Harry. Then Harry goes to h4. c6, rook c6. Yeah, there we go. Now Kappa is getting, he's probably going to reroute something like there, and then maybe get these monsters rolling up the board. Something similar to that. When you start leveling higher, like you get to the 1900, 2000, you start seeing how it's not always about brute force that it wins the game. It's about positionally playing. Like, what piece is not good for black at this point? His knight does have an idea of protecting there, but is it actually a really good place? You'd have to say the rook does a good job, but then you have to look at the ideas, the pros and cons. Like, this was his knight king move was actually a really good move because it gets out of the pin. And so I think black at this point really has put the question to white. What is white going to do? A5. Now he wants to play A4, and then if takes, there's always rook to A6, and then these guys are going to start to look kind of sad. A4, yep, that's what I would have played. Takes, takes, takes. And now now Kappa has him in like 2 spots. He's tied down. This knight's tied down to that pawn, and this rook soon will be tied down to that pawn. So D3 is the only move that kind of, it'd give white's knight some mobility. This is the only way to do it. But we have to remember that there's rook to A6 is a very strong move because that goes after the weak knight. Also gets in behind the passed pawn. So you have to remember that if you're white, you want to get in behind the passed pawn. If you're black, same thing, you're going to stop it. So just keep an eye on all those ideas. See, there we go. Now everything is tied down. He could even win a pawn here. If white plays some silly move like there, you could just take and then takes and boom, 2 pawns. And look at these monsters. These guys are just going to be tearing down the board like there's nothing. Okay, now that's actually a really good move because his knight really, well, let me see. Check, check. Yeah, oh, there it is. So he's going in for the attack. Nice. Rook B1. So now he's going. Kappa accomplished his goal. It is really interesting because if you notice, how many pawn islands does white have? See, you have to in endgame sometimes just stop. If you have like a lot of time, don't move fast. Just look at the position and say, what do I have that's beneficial to me? First of all, Capablanca has accomplished a goal that's incredible. He's got in behind Lasker's pawn. He's also, black is tying down the rook to the D4 pawn. The knight is actually this rook's also tied down to 3 things. It's totally overworked. This thing is like it's guarding here, here, and there all in one. It's like, wow. Now all he has to do is attack the rook, and that pawn's gonna fall. Yeah, minor pieces. There we go. Wow, nice. That's a stellar tactic. I know you guys see this. Bang. Wow, that's so cool. You gotta love that when you can drop a tactic like that. Sweet. And you know, Kappa shows no mercy. Ouch. He doesn't even trade. Doesn't even give Emmanuel a breath. He's just like hammering away. Now this has some teeth to it. Or potentially maybe something like that. It's all about maneuvering. Oh, he plays check there. Okay. There we go. Now the knight he's cutting this off from any advance. Oh man, Emmanuel Lasker is totally... Yeah. Emmanuel Lasker is really cool on how he's a great player, but when Capablanca is on fire, guys, are in his element, nobody can stop him. There's a reason he is world champion. He understood the end game like nobody else. I think the closest person was Bobby, knew the end game. as well as Capablanca. But then the next one of a modern generation that knows the endgame, I gotta say, Magnus Carlsen knows the endgame great. When he's on, he'll grind his opponent down to the ground in an endgame. He'll just take a small advantage. He doesn't show mercy. When it comes down to endgame, he knows how to handle it for sure. So I'd probably say the three people to study endgame: Capablanca first and foremost, and then Bobby Fischer and Magnus Carlsen are really good as well. But that's just my opinion of people that I love to study from, is those guys, those three guys. And I always think about this, guys. The like Bobby Fischer and Magnus Carlsen, they had to have learned it from somewhere. So the player that they probably found it through was Capablanca. So first of all, if you want to go for Capablanca, look at Capablanca's endgames. He even has a book out there. It's a very small book on endgame. It's really good to look at. So if you want endgame fundamentals, he has a book that's out there. So I'd probably start with Capablanca, and then slowly build up through Bobby Fischer, and then go into Magnus Carlsen's endgame, because you need to have a foundation of endgame understanding from the very beginning, and Capablanca shows that to mastering, man. I know I'm talking a little too much. Yeah, yeah. That's the Russian School of Chess is really cool idea. That's Ginger GM says that they're taught to learn from all the mistakes that they make, and they become better players. You know what's so funny? They have like the modern school of chess, the hyper modern school of chess. I think it was either I think it was Emmanuel Lasker, or was it Alekine? I'm not exactly sure. They were talking about hyper modern, how great it was, and they said that he was really old. He joined this one tournament, and they were like, man, you know what? Our hyper modern is gonna just crush you. And he just played standard play. He played patterns. And Emmanuel Lasker, I think he was like 40 or 50, somewhere around there. Though I'm not exactly sure, but he was pretty up in there in the age. He crushed everybody. He crushed 20-year-olds that were from hyper modern schools. So it's not about your school. It's about patterns. Just remember it. Don't get tied into the school mentality, because it is important to get to something. But remember, it's basically patterns. That's what GM is. That's what Ginger GM was teaching me today. I was like, that's cool. But yeah, we'll continue onward, because we got to see how the game ends. End games are so stellar. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right, Fox. Styles. It doesn't matter. All uh, Grandmaster Seven Williams says it's what the position calls for. But yeah, sometimes I talk a little too much. We need to get in and also look at some of the games as well. Wow, that's just crushing. And so now he has him pinned down. But a game that was, from the World Championship 1972, Bobby Fischer versus Spassky. Game 6 was like one of the most beautifulest games out there. Not, I mean, for that time. There are probably some more beautiful, but it's the only time that they've really said that the world champion actually got up and clapped for his opponent, because it was such a beautiful game. Bobby had deprived Boris Spassky of all breathing room. He had like no air, nowhere to move. I actually looked at the game. I was like impressed. There was nothing that he can do. He just like, it was so like, wow. I guess that's the best I can call it. Yeah. One, yeah, first of all, he brought his rook, locked down the king. We'll talk some about this now. On to this game here. Because psychology of chess is huge, but well, we got to get to this game now. Okay, we're just going to look at what Capablanca has. Is he has the rook that's basically depriving White's king of any central mobility, so he's stuck along these spots. The knight here is also preparing maybe later on if the rook can come here. He potentially has a check, and then maybe he can reroute something like that in and then start attacking. So it's all like what you're saying, guys, is he's totally white is deprived of a lot of room. Oh, there we go. So Kappa's now really taking advantage of his extra pawn. It's pretty painful when you really can't do anything but move back and forth. That's not fun at all. There comes the check. There we go. We like that. That's nice. Because now this is cut off, so that's nice. A2. There we go. Now the attack's coming right on through. Takes, yeah. Yeah. Wow. You don't get to see this every day. Look at this. There's really nothing that White can do. All of his pieces. That's stopped. That stopped. That stopped. Stopped. It's like, whoa. D4, C1, and then D5. Yeah. That's just impressive, because there's no way. If you're thinking, what if he could play there? Bang, there you go. There's nothing. If he plays here, trying to do a check, and then you just move your king up. Then if he tries to come back to stop it, smack. But more, probably better is no. I wouldn't want to do that. No, probably pushing now that I think about it. And then now you deprived everything. King can't go there. His king can't come in. Rook can't come there. Next will be rook c2, and then rook to c1, and basically it's all over. So when he resigned, where did he resign? When he resigned, I think he resigned. Where did he? Hold on, let me see here. I think he resigned. I'll just say I think he resigned there. I apologize. I forgot kind of where he resigned. And great game. Thank you, Fox, for sharing this. This was an incredible game for endgame learning. Truly, this was a stellar endgame. From two masters of all players, Emanuel Lasker and Capablanca. This was a wonderful game. Thank you. Alright. Do you guys have any questions about the game that you kind of want to look at? Any spots? Any areas back in here that you guys are thinking about going through? Like any questions or anything? Because I'll do my best to help. I'm not as good as these guys for Capablanca and Lasker for sure, but I do my best to help with understanding. Okay, we'll go back to some puzzles. I don't that's like how do you how do you even a puzzle doesn't even look that good compared to that beauty of play, but it's good for learning, so we'll get on to that. Onward and upward. Okay, we did propose this idea, which is really good because, and Super proposed that, and that's, in my opinion, I believe that's the best. What do you guys think? Because the idea is a checkmate, because if rook takes, knight takes, check, king slides over and then checkmate. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that rook takes g5 is good? Oh yeah, I agree, Fox, on that. Um, it was incredible how Capablanca knew exactly when to push his pawns. He knew when to take, when to push, and when to set up basically for a winning endgame. It comes down to what if he goes rook d1? You have I think you could just move your. I think you just move your queen to like h6 or, yeah, something similar to that. Yeah, because this is then protected by. That is a good question. I'm glad you proposed rook d1. That is an excellent proposal, because you have to always think, that's a great idea. What is your opponent's next move? Because we know for sure that knight takes is totally losing. So what if rook moves? That's an idea. First of all, you can bring your queen over, which is also a great move, because if takes again, you still have the check, and there's nothing that can stop this mate from happening. So, are you guys? Are we all in agreement on rook to g5? I I I think it's 100% right. What do you guys think? Yeah, let's give it a shot. See, that excellent find for that idea. Excellent find. Um, so next move would more likely be queen h6. What do you think? What do you think, guys? So let's see. Is that guy? Let's see. Well, see, I think that 100% with. I know that this probably is, but I'm not sure. So we'll give it a shot. No, so, whew, not good. Let's see here. I should have. We should have looked a little further. Let's see. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. What else would be a good move here? Yeah. Yeah, that's just crushing. Oh, on move 8, this is pretty impressive here. Move 8 tactic. This should be an interesting idea for sure. Let's see what do we got here. Queen takes D. I did think about that. Queen takes D is a good candidate move, but there's enough pieces to take back. Yeah, rook. You could just take back. But I'm glad you proposed that. Don't ever think that proposing is bad, because we'll talk through it. That's the whole thing about learning. True. You want like with tactics, you want to find the most forcing move, and that's the idea about tactics, is forcing moves like checks, captures, skewers, forks, pins, x-rays, discoveries, double checks, those type of ideas. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see. That's his idea there. That is interesting. But more forcing. Let's see if he takes. Okay, we have actually two takes ideas. Okay, A takes B3 allows for queen check, and like what we talked about, king D1, no more checks. A takes B3. There's knight to F2, forking the queen and the rook. So, but if we did this, if we moved on, if we took with the queen, then the idea of knight takes F2 doesn't have any teeth to it, because we can just move. Yeah, we have potentially knight take, actually knight to, nope, he can't do that, can he? Because well, we do have knight check, then queen takes, and then if queen takes the rook, we have a bishop. Okay, you see that? Queen. We'll restart this, because I kind of got, yeah, here, and if he plays there, we then, let's see. Actually, we don't have to move the rook, do we? We can just play. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't this, and then if knight takes, smack. So probably after queen takes, queen would come sliding in. Then we'd move our king. No more checks at this point. I think, I think that queen takes d3 is correct. I looked at all the kind of move sequences. That's the only one that actually stops the knight from winning the rook. Because if he tries the knight move after takes, we have bishop, and if he tries after takes queen, sorry, we play queen takes f2 check. We just move and there's nothing more. What do you think, guys? I believe that queen, and I'm more like 100% on queen b3, but I'm willing to entertain more ideas. And what you guys think? So let's give it a shot. There we go. Hurrah! Yay! You have to look at all options before you move. I think it was I think it was Emmanuel Lasker or Alekine said that if you see a good move, see if there's a better move. Like A takes the knight is a good move, but is it the best move? No, it's queen takes the knight. So you just have to look at that. And that'll make, if you do that as a chess player, that'll make you such a strong player. Because then you'll also learn restraint. You'll sit down. You won't reach for the piece and play it. You'll think for a second, and then you'll analyze. That wasn't a good move. This is a better move. Then you play that, and you win maybe a piece or get in a better position. That's what it's all about. Learning. Let's see here. Let's see here. Queen g6 looks really fun for sure. Excuse me. Didn't mean for that to happen. That. That looks very tempting here. So that's one proposal idea that we're looking at. Interesting for sure. Something's. Yeah, because this allows the queen to protect, so. if we played here, here, there, he does have queen takes b7. And I think he might be able to retreat out, if I'm not mistaken here. And must be he always could take and win the queen, 2 rooks for the queen. So we have to be very careful of potential there. So you always have to look for their counterattacks. That is an interesting idea for sure. I do like that. I'm looking at potentially maybe queen h4 is an idea. That's an interesting idea. Maybe queen h6 might be an idea, which looks kind of tempting because that threatens mate. And then we always have rook takes bishop after we play queen h6. That threatens mate. So if he plays, let's say, queen h6, he plays there, h3. We sack our rook, bishop rook takes bishop, pawn takes, and then we can actually take with queen takes, and that threatens, I think that is mate. I believe this is 100% correct. Now that I look at it, that's right. I really don't see, if he plays there, we just take, and we're still threatening mate. He could play there, like, yeah, he could play there. Actually, if he plays here, we just retreat. What do you guys think? I think that might be, that looks more total forcing. That puts the question to him, what's she gonna do? I think this is a good idea now that I look at it. I agree with you guys. What you guys think? D6? D6 has one sitch to it. I did look at that. That is a excellent proposal. I did look at that, but he does have rook to D1. That's the only sitch. Because if he takes, let's say he moves, he might not actually take. He might not play h3. If it was me and he played here, I'd move my rook for one purpose and one purpose only, so that my king has a spot to flee to. That would be my idea. It attacks the queen, so if they try some sort of sacrifice for the rook, so what? I'll play rook takes queen. So the only sitch with this idea is this rook move. That's the only thing I could see. That's it. And we can win a pawn, but then he could just run, and it's not as forcing as a queen, your idea is good. It's not that it's a bad idea. You want to go for the most forcing move. The sitch, yeah, that is an interesting idea too. But remember that his most forcing counterattack is G3. That's the only sitch, and we don't have enough time to win the bishop. We'd have to at this point move our queen. Then he can slide his light square bishop right back in and guard. Well, no, he can't guard there, could he? Because interesting. That is an interesting idea for sure. No, he could after that. I apologize. After, let's see, after here, 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 he does have H4, and that locks the position down. Yeah, and that's I don't. This is the most forcing move I can see. I agree with your first proposal, guys, of H6, Queen H6. So let's go for it. And now we can win a piece, if I'm not mistaken. Do we win a piece here? Let's see if we. Okay, hold on. And then after this, I do gotta log off, so we'll end on a positive note. I believe that's right. What do you guys think? Okay, we'll look at the engine for to check. We'll do that before I log too. We'll do that. Yeah, I think rook takes because he can't push anything, and that doesn't do anything because of the queen. I think so. Yeah, I'm gonna go with it. They're showing no mercy, aren't they? Wow. There's only one move that makes sense for the queen, because then that guard's there. Or potentially you do have a bishop move, but this is actually most it holds, it solidifies. The only sitch with moving the rook, guys, is he has a back rank mate on D8. The queen guards the rook, guards the bishop, and guards the square that would be the mating square. Queen F6 guards D8, protects the rook and the bishop. Queen D8, Queen F6 is the strongest out of all that. Yeah, you just look for the subtle. There's reasons that they play these moves. So, what do you guys think? Here, that's what I believe. What you think? Yeah, let's give it a shot. Yep, there we go. Boom, the 18 points. Wham. Okay, so you wanted to go back and look at what move. Oops, I gotta turn off the engine. Oh, we want to keep the engine. Okay. So where do we want? Hold on, I'm gonna turn that off because that's annoying. Okay, where do you want to look? Oh, Queen D6. Okay. The queen blocks with and So queen d6 is not. Let's see here. Then now we'll look at queen g. Okay, so each one's a draw. So I don't think, let's see if we snap off. Oh, he traps our queen. Yeah, ouch. Now he's winning. Owie, that hurts. That is so not fun. That wouldn't be fun. Rook d6. Yeah, it's you just have to look at what's the most forcing move sequences, and you have to be okay with the sacrifice. No, you're fine. Hey, you know what? There is no, remember this, there is no losing move. There's a learning move, okay? Queen d6, so you're thinking, okay, we'll say that he played h. Right, there we go. So, you have to remember that they're gonna, players will find these moves. Yeah, this right here is interesting. And I still think it's a draw at this point. Yeah. Yeah, because there's really no way you can. Let's see, what could we do here? Oh, ouch. That hurts. Ouch. Wow. Wow, you see that? Some Nikes. That's incredible. One inaccurate move can one move that's not forcing like there really changes the game. And look, it's white who's winning now. Amazing. Incredible. Just queen to h6. It's done at this point. Yeah, I was looking at this here. I was thinking about that. I was like, this was an idea I was thinking about. So I want to see how this gets handled. First you take, okay. And I think we rip it apart with bishop takes, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Oh, yeah, yeah. This is fun when you just, yeah, crunch. Crunch. So rook takes, king takes. Let's see, what's the next? Yep, bang! You remember the idea about the rook? There's the rook idea, guys. There's the rook. Now that's being attacked, so the queen's gonna have to come slicing in, and now we got to. I think that's check. Wait a second. Hold on. Don't we want to? Oh yeah, we can. Yeah, that's right. Check. He moves back there, and then let's see. How do we deliver? Yeah, check. Let me see here. I think we win the rook now. Yeah. Crunch. Oops, my bad there. Don't take, because there's more to be earned from crunch. Yeah, we bring everything in. Wow. Yeah, they don't. It's incredible. Who'd have thunk? Who'd have thunk? Let's see back here. Okay. Thank you guys for all the help on those moves. That was cool. We're learning so much. Thank you for all your proposals. You know what? it's never bad to propose. Remember this, you can always propose. There's no bad move. There's only learning. Okay, with that, we got a log. Okay. With as Wesley So says, serve the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless, guys, and yeah, you'll see me again on Chess Cruncher TV, so I will be back. And you have to remember always to keep learning chess and keep moving forward. Only look back to learn. There is no loss, learning. And as Colonel Hannibal Smith says, in the A team, there's always a plan in the position. We just have to find it if we take time to look. Okay, bye-bye, guys. Have a great rest of the night. Bye-bye.